Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Sunday morning. It is so good to be here with each and every one of you. Happy Easter Sunday morning.
Happy Easter.
Yes, yes. And so we are excited to be here with each and every one of you as we take this time, as we do each and every week, to celebrate the magnificence and significance of God in, through, and as us, and celebrate this truth as one family. This morning, we will be led in prayer by our prayer champion, Vanessa. So let's get into the prayer, and we'll see you on the other side.
Good morning, Celebration Spiritual Center. Let's get settled in with a deep breath, breathing in and out. And again, inhaling peace. And exhaling into the present. In this moment, I am recognizing all that is and does as the one mind, power, and presence, the only creative force, unchanging in its reality, unlimited in its expression, the very love and light that makes being, having, and doing so beautiful, meaningful, and exciting. I call it Mother, Father, God, affirming that I am created, sustained, and expanded by this life that courses through me, this divine harmony that has made me perfect, whole, and complete. In this knowing, I am clear that I am worthy of all the blessing of God and perfectly equipped to live all of its goodness. Now, in my right mind, I release belief in lack, limitation, and separation. As God's love is unconditional and its provision constant and reliable, I understand that life is for me. It is for my fellow beings. It is for the wellness of this world. I invite this truth into my experience, and in doing so, I can look out upon my life and this world from a renewed and clarified perspective. I easily see and feel now the light in myself, in those I am connected with, in the circumstances I'm involved in. I receive the health, the healing, the revealing, the prosperity, abundance, and resolution that is here, real and active. From this place, I am set to be connected with the Celebration Spiritual Center community this morning and to receive the message this day that will touch me exactly where I need it to, that will leave me lighter, clearer, motivated, and united with the inner peace that is natural to me. This I release to the one that receives me and responds, to the law that is at the ready to be directed by my expectation. I expect the good and allow it to be known and felt in every way for me and for those coming to mind and heart now. I allow myself every good feeling and invite every prosperous outcome. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for this time to pray and come back to the truth. Thank you for the sacred community in which to know you and be known and nurtured by you. Thank you for your word through our pastors and your lights in every heart. In this gratitude with sincerity and faith, we move forward with this day in Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, God. Thank you, Vanessa, for that prayer.
Yes, yes.
And I think we are ready, ready to go. Well, hello again to each and every one of you. Welcome to the live stream. It is so good to be here with you on this lovely Easter Sunday. Whatever time you're finding yourself connecting in with us, we're happy that you chose to be with us here on this day. And to our first time guests, hello, welcome. Welcome to Celebration Spiritual Center. Welcome to the celebration. Welcome to this God experience that we call CSC. We're confident that you will receive something today that will enrich your life, that will empower your life, and empower you to live victorious and thrive throughout this week. And as a first-time guest, we would love to stay in touch with you. And so you see the information here on your screen. This is how you can access our digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to the number on your screen, 347-472-1078. and that will send you a link to the digital connection card. Click that link, enter the information, and you'll be added to our mailing list. We send out a weekly email on Fridays that'll keep you abreast of what's going on here at CSC. That'll also allow us to reach out to you with other information as things are going on at CSC. Promise we won't spam you and we won't send a bunch of emails, but you'll find as you hear the announcements today, there may be things that you want to have in your inbox as you hear them today. So with that said, I think we can get into our announcements so we can get into the meditation and move into class. As we have already said, it is Easter Sunday and we celebrate Easter today. Let love arise and all fear be scattered. And we use fear as A Course in Miracles uses the word fear, knowing that it is a container word for fear, hate, doubt, worry, guilt, shame, lack, limitation, anything you can think of that's unwanted.
Anything that you can think of that would keep you separate from the truth that we teach here on Sundays.
Absolutely, absolutely. And love is the opposite of those things. And so we celebrate that reality. We let love arise and all fear be scattered. Today is also God Talk Sunday.
Yay.
Because it is the third Sunday, and the God Talk is your opportunity to ask questions. We recognize that there are things that are showing up in your life, experiences in your life, and you want to apply new thought teachings, you want to apply metaphysical teachings to the situation, circumstance, or just understand it through that lens. And so we're here to support you in coming to those awarenesses. No question is off limits. We also know that depending on where you are in your journey and your path, you may be unlearning a lot of things from your previous spiritual path. And so this is another opportunity to ask those questions. No question is off limits, but you got to be in the room.
You got to be in the room to have the question asked and answered.
Yes, yes. And so you'll, for those of you who are already on our mailing list, in our weekly email, on that Friday email, all of the details to access the God Talk are in that email. So for our first-time guests, if you would like to join us for the God Talk today, you'll need to join our mailing list. I'll put that information up on the screen again. You'll see it. You will see it later. There we go. And so again, just text welcome to this number, 347-472-1078. And after you successfully join our mailing list, which you'll receive a text message saying you're all set, then you can check your inbox and you will receive the God Talk information in your inbox. But again, for everyone else, if you're on the mailing list, the email goes out on Friday. Scroll down to the upcoming section. And in the upcoming section, you'll see the God Talk information there.
And if you have participated recently in the God Talk, it is the same information. So if you've participated before, it's the same information. You don't need to re-register or sign up again.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. As we are studying the power of decision in our I Got the Power Masterclass, we have created a blog post with resources and links because we're sharing many things throughout the class, affirmations, spiritual mind treatments, etc. And so you can use this QR code to access that page, or you can just go to the website, celebrationsc.org/power, and we will continue to update that blog post week by week with more information as it comes up. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for prayer. We gather together at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Momentum Prayer Call. The Momentum Prayer Call helps us continue the momentum that we've created on Sunday as we move through the week, and it also allows us to jumpstart or restart the momentum as we need to sometimes in the middle of the week. So we encourage you to join us for the Momentum Prayer Call. It doesn't take up a lot of time, but it sets a valuable tone for your day. It sets the vibration for your day. Now, for some reason, that time doesn't work with your schedule, all good. The most recent prayer is recorded each and every Wednesday. So you can use the playback number you see here on the screen and enter the access code and wait, and the most recent prayer will play. If you have a prayer request, we encourage you to send that via email to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. That email is received by all of our prayer champions as well as PY and myself, and we will continue to know the truth with you. We will hold the highest watch for you, your loved ones, your friends, whomever you may be emailing us about. We will hold them in the light of love. And that completes our announcements for this week.
Short and sweet.
So we can move into the meditation and into class.
Ah, yes, the meditation experience. I say it quite often. You can have all of the spiritual knowledge and be able to memorize and recite spiritual text and teachings, but if you have not felt God alive within you, moving on the breath, if you have not felt connected to it, all you have is information. So we take time every Sunday to go into the depths of our being, to connect to the God of our understanding. It should be an experience that any time you need to be reminded of the truth, you can close your eyes, take the breath, and journey within, where love resides, where answers reside, and where God is. We are grateful to know that there is a knowingness that permeates every cell of our being. And now we get to experience and remember that we were created by this thing that creates trees and fleas, that creates the breeze, that creates it all. It created it all perfect in its unfolding, and that includes us. We remember that. We meditate on that. We allow that to be the truth of our lives. So, this month we've been affirming something. We've been affirming a very powerful statement. I am. Whatever follows, I am is. I am as God created me. While my parents were the vehicle for my birth onto the planet, God created me, thought me into being, thought about the unfolding of this life, and knew that it was good. Take that in. God is pleased with its creation. Knowing this, let's feel it within ourselves. Go ahead and look around the room. Notice where you are. You are in your home, seated upright in a chair, on your bed, on the sofa, but seated upright so that the energy can align and move through this system, the subtle body system, the physical body system, and remembering that we are as God created us. Align your ears over your shoulders and shoulders over the hips. So if you're leaning too far forward or too far back, nice and settle in. Place the palms on the tops of the thighs. And as you scan the room, you remember that you are safe. And you are the creation of an infinitely intelligent source that filled you with intelligence, that filled you with light, that filled you with joy and peace and ease. From this place, close your eyes. As we close our eyes, we send the signal to our body it's okay to relax. And maybe this is the first time this week that you've taken the breath and decided to give yourself this experience of connection. It's okay. Take it now. Notice the breath, right where it is. No judgment that it should be deep or it should be anything other than what it is. We let go of the shoulds, the woulds, the coulds, and step into the fact that we were created perfect, whole, and complete. Beautiful, everyone. Now let's take conscious control of the breath. Just as it is our ability to control our thinking, we get to control our breath as well. Let's together send the breath and our focus into the low belly now. Inhale, expand the low belly on a count of 4. Nice and easy. Hold it there. Count of 4. Open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. As that navel draws towards the spine, emptying the breath. Now inhale, expand. Hold it there. And sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the front and the sides, the back of the body. Hold it there. Exhale, relax the jaw. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage again, finding new places to send the breath, new places to open, new places to release. Hold it there. And let it go. Connecting the low belly to the rib cage and now up through the heart. Heart chakra, center of the chest. Hold it there. Relax the jaw, sigh it out. Again, finding the way in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through and to the heart. Energy flows across the chest and across the back. Hold it there. Relax the jaw, sigh it out. Few more rounds to practice this full elongated breath in and all the way up, holding at the top. And this time, instead of exhaling through the mouth, we're going to exhale through the nose. Nice and easy, close the lips. This will be our form of breath work, in and out through the nose. Each breath taking us deeper. Each breath clearing and cleansing and opening. Each breath soothing, relaxing, and drawing more peace to us. Each breath reminding us that we are as God created us. Last round of just noticing and full breathing. Let's take this relaxation into the feet. As we walk the earth, as we move about our day, we may be gripping and holding on in resistance to, or in fear of. Send the breath there. Relax the feet. For where we stand, where we sit, where we move on the earth is holy ground. We are supported by God as it moves in, through, and as us, sending that energy up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles now. Relax the ankles. Energy flows across the shins and the calves. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows now across the knees. We bend, we align, we forgive, we let go. Relax the knees. Energy flows across the tops of the thighs, the hamstrings, making its way towards the glutes. Give yourself permission to relax the thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes, as you sink deeper into your peace and knowingness that you are as God created you. Our hip sockets are open and available as joy flows up from the base of our spine, up the spinal column. Energy flows in and up, 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 up and out the crown of our head. There is no obstruction to our joy or our knowingness of who and what we are and how we were created. Sending that back down through the crown across the third eye, flowing easily down the throat, opening it to speak these words of truth. Down the shoulders, down the arms and out the fingertips. In your mind's eye and in your experience, feel the opening. You may turn the palms up to receive more or turn the palms down. Scan the body one last time, noticing if you're holding anywhere, any tension, any thoughts of the past or the future. If the mind wanders during our quiet, silent time, it's okay. The mind is doing what it does. When we become aware, we tenderly, lovingly bring it back to the affirmative thought, I am as God created me. We let it flow, for it is true. We let it flow, for we accept this truth. We let it flow, for it is our reality now. With our eyes still closed, we gently, lovingly begin the process of re-entry into these physical bodies. We come back knowing more deeply that love created me like itself. Love created me like itself. That means intelligence created me intelligent. That infinite knowledge flows through me. That the seed of joy gave me joy and makes me joyous. That all the abundance that exists moves in through and as me. With our eyes closed, we let that permeate ourselves. And any time this week that we may forget, that we may make a mistake, we remember that love created me like itself, and it never changed its mind about me. I accept its reality as its creation, and I bring it back with me now. Let's begin to gently wake our bodies again, maybe wiggling the toes or the fingers or elongating the breath, whatever feels good. Stop the movement now and bring the palms together at heart center. Lightly touching the thumbs into the sternum, bowing the chin towards the fingertips. Slowly fluttering the eyes open, nice soft gaze, no strain on the eyes, no strain on our experience. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, release the breath. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, PY.
Welcome.
We are in week 3 of our class, and we are beginning chapter 2 today. As a reminder, you see here on your screen, if you have questions as you're reading, send those questions to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. We have one question that we received from chapter 2.
Great question.
Really great question. And we will get to that question when we get to that section of the text. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that section of the text today because there's a lot to cover in the chapter. So if we don't get to the question today, we will definitely get to it next week. All right. So let's maximize our time and get into this beautiful text and see what Raymond Charles Barker is talking about this week. All right. Indecision is the title. And at the outset, I want to say something even about this idea, because we're talking about the power of decision, and the second chapter is indecision. And one of the things I think that it is important to clarify is that indecision is different than inactivity. And I say that because so often we hear the phrase take action, right? And we hear people admonish to, just go do, just start. And there is absolute great merit in that. I have experienced the benefits of that in my own life, where I just was I was so scared of all the things that might happen. And so I was just stuck, right? And I needed to just start doing something. However, what that does not address is true cause, which is mental, right? So even though we may go out in activity and do stuff, all of that is going to be informed and colored by the ideas that we have embraced, believe consciously or subconsciously. And so indecision, it begins in mind, right? And so again, many people think they're being decisive because they're being active, but they're not. And I believe that this will help many understand the difference.
Because what ends up happening is that you're acting from a fearful place unconsciously. Again, remember there's a difference between conscious and unconscious, and you're creating more of the same unconsciously. And so we want to be decisive and then move.
Absolutely. All right. Success and failure are the results of the use of mind. Every success-motivated mind has been a decisive mind. Every failure-motivated mind has been an indecisive mind. Only the dreamer who acted with decision on his or her dream brought forth something new and valuable. And again, it is the very thing that I was just talking about. Acted with this decision, right? The acting has to come with decision, not just doing. It takes as much hard mental work to fail as it does to succeed. Failure is actually a success negative. For those of you who have read the 30-Day Mental Diet, you may remember that wonderful day where Willis Kinnear says, you always succeed. Right? That's what that is right there. Failure is actually a success negative. It is the result of consistent negative patterns in the subconscious mind. Worry always begets indecision.
And many of us think that worry is because the mind is active, we think we're thinking and coming up with decisive action, when all in fact we're doing is thinking and spinning.
Yep.
And that's where the worry shows up, right? And I talk about that a lot. You're using your mind, but you're not using it in a way to create success. You're just spinning in the problem or your fear or your doubt, which creates even more worry, and then you begin to spin out in worry, right?
Right. Remember, worry is the misuse of imagination. You're using imagination just against yourself.
Right.
That's all. Your only tools in life are your mind and emotions. The most successful people in all fields of activity use the same mind and the same emotions that you are using. The genius does not have more mind than you do. Take that in. Breathe that in. There are no special people. Right? There are no special people. There are no unique minds on the planet that are uniquely genius, and you are not. The genius does not have more mind than you do. They consciously or subconsciously know how to use their minds to get the results they want. The same is true of their use of emotion. They know, he or she knows what he wants to do and assumes that they can do it. This assumption is their decision. And that's important to know, consciously or subconsciously. There are a lot of people that are out here being geniuses and exemplifying the attributes of genius thinking or genius acting or genius performing or genius painting or genius creating in some way. But they might not even be consciously aware that they've tapped into it. But somewhere within their being, that idea that he knows what he wants to do and assumes that he can do it. Right. One of the things I've come to realize in my own life, there are a lot of things that I have automatically believed I could be or do. Really has a lot to do with my family and in some cases my upbringing, things that I was just led to believe to be true, that I accepted. And so I stand in the world and I go out and do these things and I don't think that there's a barrier. Right. And I can't even pinpoint the day that someone or something told me that. But that assumption is a decision that I constantly act from all the time. All of us have that experience in various areas of our lives. The genius does not have more mind than you do.
And this person, he or she, may not even be consciously oh, I have to consciously assume that I can do this. It's just has been a decision that this is the way it works. They have accepted without reservation that this mind that I have, and then people begin to affirm it for them on the outside, and that just gives more meaning to it, and it gives more validity to it, and it just solidifies it more.
Right.
They've been labeled now as a genius. They didn't know they were a genius in the beginning, but once they're labeled, they just accept the label into their already understanding of what's happening. That's the only difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You think and feel. How you think and feel determines your place in life. As you are the only thinker in your mind, you can decide how you will think and how you will feel. It is as simple as that. And as simple as that statement is, most of us are not deciding how we think and how we feel. Most of us, we live in we live in a world of swayed minds, right? One week, everyone's talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock. The week before, everyone was talking about Zelensky and Ukraine. Next week, they'll be talking about something else, right? And so people aren't deciding how they will think and feel. Most people are being swayed and moved into thinking and feeling based on what's going on outside of them, right? But in the truth, you are the only thinker in your mind, and you can decide how you will think and feel.
Right, it's that shiny syndrome. We start to follow the next sparkly thing, experience. We go there, we go there, we go here. And then forgetting that all of the decision, all of the powers within us. One of the most beautiful things I think about this text, even with our questions, is that it's empowering us to take control of our experience now.
Yep. Yep.
It's not admonishing you of what you did before. It's just saying, now you get to do something. If you didn't know it before, you get to do it now.
Yep. Yep. Your decision, right or wrong, gives direction to your subconscious mind, and you are on your way to your end result. Life responds to your decision by corresponding. All of the ideas you need reveal themselves in right order and sequence once you have arrived at a decision. Every important event in your life has taken place because of a decision made by you or by someone else. Review some of these important times in your experience and you will note the truth of my statement. No great event happens by chance. It is caused by the decisive thinking of a person or persons. A decision alerts the subconscious energies that a sound and a solid idea is being accepted by the conscious mind. Upon that acceptance, the law of consciousness acts and a new event or situation is born. This introduces something, an idea that I love. One, in the study of the Kabbalion, we read this idea of the law of cause and effect, because this is really what we're talking about in this chapter. Everything happens according to the law, that nothing merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. Many times in the Kabbalion, it also talks about luck being cause just misunderstood. And so we may not always know what the cause is, but I love here that Barker is inviting us to something that we may not have considered. A decision made by you or someone else, right? A decision made by thinking of a person or persons. Sometimes you may not be the person that made the decision, right? But there's the absolute truth that there is a cause and a causer, right? And what we're learning and what we're embracing through the study of this book and this chapter is that we can actually become the causers of our life, that we can actually make decisions that then impact our lives, and we can actually free ourselves to a great extent, not 100%, because we live in a unified system on this earth, right? So there are literally things that someone can do on the other side of the earth that can affect us and vice versa, right? So we can't completely remove ourselves from that, but we actually have great power as we become the causers of our lives. We now minimize the effects of those other causes.
Absolutely. And you know, the more I think about this chapter and the chapter that's following it, he assumes that he can do it. So the first thing is he decides that he can. When we begin to use affirmations, we're making a decision. Mm-hmm. So you employ affirmations because you're deciding that if this is not how it is now, this is how I want it to be. Mm-hmm. And so affirmations become really powerful in your assumption that you can. Because you didn't know before, but you want it to be so. So you employ the affirmation to support you in the I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The will to fail. Indecision is actually the individual's decision to fail. Many people are indecisive all their lives. From the cradle to the grave, they annoy relatives, friends, and business associates with the constant question, tell me what I should do. Their subconscious indecision pattern is strong and clear. They seem powerless to break it. They can, but they do not know that they can.
That's important.
They do not realize how disastrous this indecision pattern can be. So, right, this is very important, right? They can, but they do not know they can.
That's the whole thing right there. They can, they just don't know they can. And so they keep seeking outside guidance. Mm-hmm. That's not the same as a coach that supports you in a decision that you've already made. I want to start a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. You already have at some level of knowledge that you can. Mm-hmm. You just need some support in that can. Mm-hmm. These people don't even know they can.
Right. And all of us, to be clear, all of us have been this person.
Absolutely.
Right? But they do not know they can. And so this is why grace, which is an attribute of love, and compassion, which is an attribute of love, is always necessary. Mm-hmm. Also, they do not realize how disastrous this indecision pattern can be, right? Because also, if we fully knew that, we would not do it, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that simple. When we know better, we do better. Usually, this pattern is subconsciously established in the first 6 years of life. Parental domination or similar home situation does not permit the child to make his or her or their own decisions. This overprotection initiates the lifelong habit of dependency upon other people to solve their problems, right? And so this is just one of the causes, but I love that he highlights this idea that overprotection can lead to adults being indecisive. Stop asking for advice. The chronic advice seeker is a sorry soul. The inability to accept the responsibility of running your own mind may well be the major sin of life. And sin is a mistake.
Right. By sin, he means mistake.
An error in need of correction.
Right. That's all it is.
You're writing in pencil, you turn it over and erase. That's all what a sin is. It is a pattern that can be broken. I have known many people who have done this. Not easily, but with wise counseling, they saw themselves in a new light. They accepted the first principle of individuality, which is self-determination. What's interesting for me as I read that, because consciously when I see the word self-determination, I think about Black people. I think about Black pride, and this idea, even Kwanzaa, I think about the right to self-determination, right? And that in consciousness, Black people in this country had to embrace this idea of self-determination. We get to determine who we are. We get to define our greatness. We get to say we're excellent. We get to say we're brilliant. We get to say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. All of that was rooted in self-determination. We get to wear our hair the way it naturally grows out of our head if we choose to, and we can do anything else with our hair as we choose to, and it's all good. When there's a world and a society and a way of being that says everything that's true naturally about Black people is bad or wrong. So again, I see that word, it reminds me of that, understanding that there was a decision that was made in consciousness by individual Black folks and even collectively as a people. Very, very important. The first principle of individuality. Freedom of mind action is your birthright. And freedom of mind action means the freedom to think a thought and hold that thought in mind so that it comes into being, right?
Right. It's the same way that the first cause created us. It had a thought in mind. It held that thought in mind long enough to create it, and here we are. That same heritage or heredity in that respect is passed down to us. We get the ability. It's our birthright.
Yeah, yeah. It remains your latent potential if you are an indecisive person.
Meaning you don't know that you can decide.
Yes, it can always be activated. You were born to be you. Your consciousness is fully equipped to express you, but you have to realize that you can be you. Otherwise, you are a potpourri of other people's decisions. Again, these individual sentences are so potent. Consciousness is fully equipped to express you, right? Now you can think about that, how you know yourself to be, if you know yourself to be straight, gay, trans, whatever. Consciousness is fully equipped to express you. You don't need nobody's permission. Be you, right? But you have to realize that you can be you. You have to realize that who you are, as you came into this world, is fully accepted and embraced and can be that.
And we're not saying that it oftentimes is easy to step into that awareness of yourself as full expression. And it's part of your process to step into that. Your being on the planet is activating something within those people who are closed-minded, who only see things a certain way. Your being here opens up possibility to everyone else on the planet, that they can be who they really are.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, yes. Otherwise, you're a potpourri of other people's decisions, and that's what happens, right? When we don't know and haven't learned to accept ourselves, that you can be you, right? Then we're trying to be what everybody else says. They say I'm supposed to be straight, so I'm going to be out here trying to be straight. Oh, well, they say I'm supposed to have 5 degrees, so I'm out here and trying to get every piece of paper I could get, right? Oh, well, they say, I have to have made a certain amount of money by this age. Oh, well, they say I'm supposed to be married by now. Oh, they say I'm supposed to have children, right? Otherwise, you are a potpourri of other people's decisions.
Right, because other people's decisions about you quite frequently change. Right? What they think you should do quite frequently changes.
Right.
And so you're just out here trying to pick up little bits and pieces and create a self out of it when the whole full self was already created perfect, whole, and complete.
You are a second place person getting from life a small portion of the good that is possible, right? When we don't allow ourselves to be who we are, right? And we don't have this understanding. Leaning on the consciousness of others, you are not being what you can be. Eating 3 meals a day in a restaurant will never make you a cook. Not until you enter your own kitchen and use its equipment can you start to cook. The first results may not be very inspiring, but at least you are now cooking, right? We've all had that experience of once I'm thinking about being much younger, right? For, trying to be on my own and trying to do things and trying to be grown. And I made mistakes, but I was in my kitchen, right? I was cooking. I was doing things that supported me in becoming the man that I am today and the man that I am still becoming, right? But you got to enter your own kitchen.
You got to enter your own kitchen.
Lord, have mercy.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Right. It's like the results may not be inspiring. It's like if you make pancakes, the first pancake is usually really sad.
It's awkward.
Right.
It's weird shape.
Right. But you got to keep going, right? And then it's the next pancakes that are the ones that you want to serve or take pictures of and post on Instagram. All right. All intelligence abides in your consciousness and awaits your call upon it. You may say you do not know what to do, but at the center of your mind is the clear decision you should make. It is right there. It can be found instantly when your mind turns to it. Seek, and ye shall find. Matthew 7:7. Knock, and the door shall be open. Right? It's not seek and something might come. Knock, and somebody might be home.
Right. Somebody might be there, maybe not.
The answer is within. The world of other people's decisions is not your world. The world of other people's decisions is not your world. No matter how wise and kind these people may be, no matter how much they love you and care for you, they are only maintaining your childhood pattern of indecision, the pattern of leaning on other minds rather than on your own. God made your mind for you to think your thoughts and not someone else's thoughts. Why this apparent need for you to make your own decisions? You seek your own success, and this success comes when you use your own resources. Every successful person is a success because they used ideas that arose within their own mind.
Now, this is not to say that they did not have help in initiating the plan, activating the plan, but the idea had to initiate in their mind. They received the support to activate it, right?
Yeah. And what this is also pointing to, it's a liberating idea of success. Every person is a success because they used ideas that arose within their own mind, right? So that means that your success is not about material things. Your success is not about achieving status. Success is not about achieving a financial number. To the extent that you have accessed original thinking ideas within your own mind, made a decision to do, be, or have that thing, and achieve that, that's really the success was in that decision, in the choosing, right?
Success was in the choosing.
Right. Of getting in your own kitchen.
Right. And the outcome is sure because the decision was yours. Right?
Right. Original thinking does not come from another person. It happens in your own mind. Fine ideas can be transmitted to you from others, but originality awaits your own self-discovery. It is already in your consciousness, planted there from the beginning. You are spiritually equipped to be an original thinker. Can we affirm that together? I am spiritually equipped.
I am spiritually equipped
to be an original thinker.
To be an original thinker.
Right. And, for me, partially as I read this, it just reminds me of part of what's happening in society right now, right? We have such a lack of original thinking and original ideas, right? And because so many people aren't accustomed to even embracing original thinking and original ideas, those that are coming with original ideas are castigated, right? Or questioned beyond, the norm, right? And of course, it leaves us stuck. In this moment, I'm thinking about climate change, right? There's lots of original thinking and original ideas that are available that have not been implemented, that could be implemented, right? Declare that you are, and interesting ideas will come to mind. These will not fit your usual patterns of thinking. They will make you uncomfortable, but do not reject them. They beckon you to areas of new successes. They invite you to be a prospector of gold mines of new events. You glimpse the maturity of self-knowing, and you leave the immaturity of seeking help.
Right.
I love that too, the idea of the uncomfortability, right? It is sort of one of the ways that you sort of know, oh wait, this is not me in that sense of, I'm not pulling from what I've already seen, or it's this is different, because it means growing, right? It means breaking the shell that you're in to become whatever's inside the shell.
Well, and the idea of uncomfortable, the God that created us knows what we are capable of. And so those inspired ideas that drop in may make you uncomfortable because you haven't seen yourself in the light of God. You haven't seen yourself at the level that you were created yet. And so you're like, is that an original idea? You begin to doubt it before you even give it time to germinate. Like, where did that come from? I don't have the resources. You begin to go to the how,
right?
Because you're uncomfortable with something you didn't even know was a possibility,
right?
Right?
Right.
And that is counter to what we're talking about here. Ideas come all the time. You may have even been somebody that said, I had that idea, and somebody else just made $1 million off of it. Ideas are always free floating. They're always available. Right? We don't act on them because we get to the how. We don't think we're capable. Why would I do that? I don't have the resources. I don't have the skills. I don't have the degrees. We start to do all of those things that shut the idea down. And then we think, oh, I don't have any original ideas. Well, you shut them down.
Right. Right.
Before they even had a time to even really get fully formed.
Yeah. Uncomfortable does not mean incapable.
Yes. Write that down.
Right?
Uncomfortable does not mean incapable.
Yes, yes.
Just means new. Just means different.
That's all.
You're just
Right.
shaking it up a little bit.
Right.
You're just, shaking the dust off of this intelligent, creative mind that you already have.
Yeah.
I may not have, quote unquote, the money, but I have the ideas. And that's all that is needed to start.
One alone in consciousness with the divine constitutes a complete majority.
In our case, two alone became an amazing launching team that became all these other things that brought the resources that brought us here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we got stuck on what we didn't have, there would be no CSC.
Real talk.
We stayed in the joy of just the ideas percolating. And every day there were new ideas to support the idea.
The universe is decisive. The originating mind of the cosmos knows what it is doing, and it does its work well. It has a mathematical accuracy of law and order. It cannot have any self-argument, and it is never indecisive. It asks no questions. It leans on no one. It proceeds in its business of creating the new, the better, and the different. It cannot stagnate, nor can it be defeated. All is in order in the universe. You may call a hurricane disorder, but the meteorologists know it as order. They are aware of its beginning, its course, and its ultimate end. They chart it accurately and well. To them, it is an orderly phenomenon as cause, process, and conclusion.
Think about that. That's a beautiful analogy because we look at the storm and think something is wrong, as opposed to realizing that it is based on conditions, that there's something happening that is causing it to happen. And so we get stuck in the storm and not realizing that it is an event that will pass in an orderly fashion.
Beginning, middle, and end, right? And of course, for us, our emotional storms, the reason that they don't seem to pass is because we're still magnifying the storm, right? Not even acknowledging this idea. Oh yeah, okay, this is a storm, and it will end.
Right.
It literally must have an ending.
Right. I realize that right now I'm experiencing emotion, and that emotion is based on how I've been thinking about things, and it is gathering steam. And emotion is a good thing, and so I will observe it and know that it will pass too. I won't squash it, which keeps it in place. I will experience it, move through it, on to the next.
Yeah. And let's take a real talk example. I'm thinking financially, right? But I can remember a time when my credit was not good, right? And I kind of lived in a place of, well, this is just what it is. I just got to exist as someone with bad credit, right?
Label.
Right.
Boom.
Right. And so I can only get certain types of loans, or I can't even apply for certain types of loans, right? Because this is my reality, right? And again, this is what a lot of us do. But that literally, whatever. If I go on, get my credit scores, I see the number, that's a temporary condition, just like a hurricane.
Part of the reason, especially around this issue of credit, is the negative association, the self-judgment. Oh, I should have done better. Oh, I should have used my money. All those shoulda, woulda, couldas keep you in the storm, as opposed to realizing, yes, I made some mistakes. I had some errors. I forgive myself and I set myself free.
Hey.
And my decision now is to be on the positive side of this experience.
Right.
And so I open to ideas that will send me in the direction of this thing.
Absolutely.
Now, our credit score is not us.
No, that's the other thing, right?
Right? So we got to let that be it too, right? We've identified with it. And we understand that it is a vehicle by which we do things. So if it is not to your liking, I decide to change it.
Yes, yes.
I don't decide to punish myself for it. I don't decide to keep myself stuck in what was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I make the decision that this no longer impacts me, that I will have all the resources to change this experience now.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened, right? The beautiful
Yes.
opportunities showed up to support me in repairing my credit, growing my credit score, and having an excellent credit score, right? Right. And so I'm using that as a real talk example, because it's like we can talk about emotional storms or the metaphorical storms, or you're like, that was a storm, right? And that was a storm that I kept fixed because I had labeled myself, right, and felt like this is punishment for the things that I didn't do right, many of which I didn't know to do.
That's the
right,
other piece.
right.
You know, many of us have never ever been taught in terms of financial literacy and how it all works and
Right.
what you got to do and
Right.
da da da. It really is a game that we haven't been taught the rules to.
Right.
And once you do, along with everything else we're saying, it changes.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we go on. You exist in and are part of this originating universal mind. All of its law and order is instantly available to you. In fact, this mind is already in your consciousness, awaiting your awareness of it. You are never apart from it. You may unconsciously isolate yourself from it, but it cannot isolate itself from you. It is, and you are that which it is. There is but one mind, and you are a thinker in it. All of its ideas are your ideas. See, y'all hear us? We open it. There is one mind, one power, one presence. There's one life. That life is my life now. What we are saying is this thing that he's been talking about, this thing that works with mathematical accuracy and order, that cannot have any self-argument, that is not indecisive, this thing, we are never a part of it. We are intimately and intricately connected to it. It is our mind.
We're never apart from it, right?
And so its ideas are our ideas. Its forward proceeding action of constant creation and maintenance of that which it has created are right now functioning in your mind. The following spiritual treatment will aid you in being aware of it and thereby receiving benefits from it. And we have a slide here, and you can download the slide and put it somewhere if you want for this treatment. There is one originating intelligence, mind, and spirit, and I am its action, its outlet, and its process of revealing itself. It knows me as itself, and I know myself as it. Therefore, I am never indecisive. I always have the right idea at the right time. Infinite intelligence in me knows what to do, and this knowledge is mine at every instant. Original thinking pervades my consciousness, and I am correctly decisive regarding all matters. I know what I need to know at the instant I need to know it. The results of this correct knowing of original ideas bring forth new and improved situations in my life. For this, I am glad.
Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
So it is.
For this truth, I am glad.
Yes.
Not for what I thought before, meaning my indecision. For the truth of my decisiveness, I am glad. For the fact that decision is flowing easily through me, I am glad. Right?
Yeah.
For the fact that infinite intelligence within me knows what to do. It knows what to do. I am glad.
Yes.
I get the opportunity to show myself this is true. I am glad.
Yes. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. We move forward. Let there be. The Bible opens with the allegorical description of many decisions on the part of the causative mind. I suggest that you read again the first chapter of Genesis. There is not a single sentence of hesitation in it. It is clear and direct. The writer is telling, by means of an ancient poetical form, a concept of the way infinite mind creates out of itself. It does this by first forming clear, definite ideas of that which it wants as form. It next declares these ideas into form by stating, let there be, and the form appears. I didn't pull out those sections because I feel like it would just take us a lot, that's just a whole teaching into itself. But if please go back and read Genesis 1, really any translation, but of course New Revised Standard Version is always recommended. But there's the let there be, and then and so it was. And then not only then so it was, and God called it good.
God called it good.
Right? But that idea that there's no hesitation, and this is again supporting us in understanding what creation is really all about, what affirmative prayer is really all about. So even as you say, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And so it is. Right? When I say let there be, I'm not asking. What that let there be is really saying I'm allowing within myself this possibility to become. Let there be. I'm allowing within myself this whatever these $1 million to be, and so it is. I'm allowing within myself this loving relationship to be, and so it is. I'm allowing within myself this new business to be, and so it is. That's what let there be is. It's not an ask.
It's not saying, please let there be.
Right.
It just said, let there be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not asking for permission.
Mm-mm.
Right? It's saying, let there be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The creative mind is all in all. It has no one to whom it can turn for advice. It knows within itself what it wants and proceeds to bring it to fruition. It wastes neither time nor energy. It decides and acts upon its decisions. This cosmic or originating process is not an ancient one, used only once. It is the correct way of thinking both universally and individually. What God does on the grand scale of the cosmos, so you can do on the plane of the particular. You've heard us use it in prayer. What God is in the large, we are what? In the small. Mm-hmm. Right?
Meaning the individualized expression of this thought.
Exactly. In fact, the only success process is this process. Few successful people ever realize that they are using a spiritual means to achieve their goals, but they are. They would shout no if you told them this, but the truth remains that there is only one success process. Know what you want, decide it shall happen, and act upon the decision. You see where act comes in? You got to know, decide, and then act. And this is what I said, this is different than inactivity. So many people are just out there acting. They're not knowing, and they haven't decided.
Right, they're not knowing who and what they are. They really don't even know who and what they want. They base that on some sense of lack of what they don't have. And then they go out there and they do stuff. And they get sometimes good results, sometimes bad results, quote unquote.
Your conscious mind makes the decision, and your subconscious mind acts upon the decision. Again, that's still all, we're still in the realm of the mental there. Your subconscious mind acts upon the decision. And that's really where all the power is. That's where the acting happens. So that then you're acting in the physical. This is why you've heard us say it. You hear Abraham Hicks talk about it. You're just compelled. You're just moved into action. And so you don't really feel like you're doing anything. You're observing it. You're the doer, and you're also the witness, because you're just.
I love that idea of being compelled to right action.
Yeah.
Because that you've already decided to let it be. Let there be whatever. And then you're compelled easily, not forced. It just feels like you're drawn to what's next. You do it, and then next, and then next. And then to the outside world, it's like miraculous.
Right.
But to you, the knower, to you, the metaphysician, to you that practices this way of creating, you know what's happening.
Right.
And you keep doing it over and over. I hear many people say, oh, but this time it might not work because this is different than anything I've ever done. This is different than what I've ever seen. The process works. It's law. So you can relax in that.
Right.
If you've succeeded in using this process anywhere in your life, it will apply to everywhere in your life.
And you can go back and look and see, even when you weren't aware that this was the process,
right.
You can see how the process played out.
Right? If you know how like you diagram a sentence and you put this, if you just looked at an experience and you take it apart and you realize how you got to the successful conclusion, it's the same process. Over and over, and you just get better at it. It just becomes easier. The inspired ideas just flow more. You don't doubt them, so your power of decision becomes stronger.
Yep.
And on and on and on it goes.
Yes. Give it to your subconscious. And your subconscious mind is the creative process of the ages, the process which every successful person has used. It cannot refuse to service you. It has no favorites, and it knows no limitations. It awaits your demand that it act. Upon your demand, it proceeds to fulfill this demand without stress or strain. The mental machinery of your subconscious mind moves into action in orderly ways and draws upon resources far greater than the conscious mind could ever know. No wonder that modern metaphysicians call this function of mind God. They sense the magnitude of its ability, and they use this tremendous creative potential to produce what they want in life. All of this is already in you, the great use of it. The great use it, the non-great do not. So they remain the non-great. Decide upon something, situation, or condition that you want right now in your present life. Be definite in this decision. Do not limit your decision by investigating the probable reasons why it will never happen.
I have that line please underline that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Right, because that's what we do. Right? That's what we do.
We have an idea, and immediately following that is all the reasons why it won't happen. And then guess what? It doesn't happen.
Right. That is the detour to nothing.
The detour to nothing. Right? And so you have this mind that you turned on against yourself. You have this imagination that you've activated as worry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the detour to nothing, and it's the detour to everything staying the same. Right? If you don't start nothing, it won't be nothing.
In all kinds of ways.
Right? Right? It's the detour to nothing. He goes on, all false speculations of defeat have to be ruled out out of your consciousness. If they enter into your decision for even a fleeting moment, the decision is robbed of authority, and the subconscious mind cannot act upon it. You do not need to know how the final result will come to pass. That is the function of the subconscious. It has the ways and means that, if they were known, would stagger the intellect.
And that's true. Because if we look back over our lives, the places that we've come to, if we knew all of that, we might not have taken the first step.
Exactly.
All that had to happen to get you to where you are, it would have staggering to the mind. How's that going to happen? And when is that going to, and that's not what it's talking about. Right. I love those first. You do not need to know the how the final result will come to pass. Highlight that if you have not.
Yeah. And what's beautiful here, this is exemplified in our human experience when we think of the masculine and the feminine, right? And creating a child, right? The masculine, the seed from the masculine is the decision, right? And the egg in the womb is the subconscious in the feminine. Now, what's interesting, imagine there's no woman on this planet that knows how to create blood and bone and organs, and to make sure that the child can see, and make sure that they definitely have all the 10 toes and 10 fingers, make sure that their brain is forming and working, making sure that their ears, right? No, the woman nor the man, right? Neither one of those parents know how to do that, right?
They might intellectually know how, but they're not going to be in there creating the how, right? They might have knowledge of what it takes to do these things.
Nobody knows how to create bone.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is nobody knows how to do that, meticulously get in there and make sure it's happening and all of that. No.
Right. And so what I'm pointing to is when you say you do not know how the final result will come to pass, all of the things that we would need to know to create a human outside of the decision, right, and the receiving into the subconscious mind, right? If we needed to know everything, again, that's what I wanted to get to when he says it would stagger the intellect, right? That's beyond our sense of knowing, and yet we make use of this process, right? Because it's how we all got here. Right, and so this, again, it's an example that helps us to understand something about this process in a way that's tangible, and realize that there's all these things we don't understand about the process,
but it doesn't stop us from using it.
Exactly, right. And so he gives us this powerful spiritual mind treatment that I love. He says it has the ways and means that, if they were known, would stagger the intellect. Say to your subconscious, say to your subconscious, this is my decision. I now authorize you to accomplish this. I have total confidence in your abilities and resources. I authorize this without any reservations. I do not place this demand in a framework of time or condition. I love that sentence. It is a free demand now established in my subconscious mind. This mind now has it clearly. So you can use this when you find yourself about to take that detour to nothing, right? When you find yourself about to take that detour to things staying the same, even though you don't want them to stay the same, right? And so then he goes on and he says, then relax and let your subconscious have free reign. Keep clear of all doubt, keep clear of all worry. God in your subconscious as your subconscious is the power and the mind that accomplishes your desire. Let God be God and keep your hands off the process. Right?
And that feels hard to do because for many of us, we don't even believe that God is operating in a loving and beneficial way in our lives. We have old ideas about the things that we've done before, and so we think there's no way God could, quote unquote, bless me in this way. We get to let go of all of that and trust this process and treat our minds, as it's saying, activate the subconscious mind in a way that's beneficial, and then we sit back. Doesn't mean that we don't become active, but we become active by the inspired ideas to act.
Yes.
We don't just start doing things.
Yes. And keep your hands off the process.
Right.
Right.
Keep your hands off the how.
Right. And these are things you can
your
start
hands off.
saying to yourself when you see yourself, when you become aware of your taking that detour, going to that place in mind. Oh, wait, let me stop. Let me let God be God. Let me let love be love. Let me let joy be joy, whatever name you need to use that supports you in coming back to what is true, right? Because God could be a triggering word, or you could have associations with that word that you don't understand. But also you can just say, I can just say, Greg, get your hands out them pots. Right? Maybe I don't know if your grandmother or your mother's ever did that. You go in the kitchen trying to taste something or want to open up the oven and the stuff isn't ready yet, right? Keep your hands off the process. Just say that to yourself.
Right. Keep your hands off the how, the process, the unfolding. Hands off.
Yes, yes. Hashtag. Your subconscious will reveal to your conscious mind directions to take and ways to proceed. This is what we were talking about, being compelled. Idea will follow idea in perfect order and sequence. You become the observer of the creative process now taking place in you. From the observation point in the conscious mind, you watch what you want it to have happen. You are under no strain. You are the observer and the participant. I love that he puts that sentence, you are under no strain. Because this is one of the telltale signs that you are operating in your strength versus you're allowing the process to be the process. This is one of the telltale signs, whether you're making it happen, right? And trying and doing and pushing and hustling and grinding, or if you're allowing. If you are under no strain, you're tapped into this process.
Right. If you're under no strain and it's moving, unfolding, and it's easy, and it's just turn here, call this person, open this email, watch this video, go to this place. It's that easy. And we've been working way too hard to receive what is ours by divine right.
Yep.
Can you hear me? You've been working way too hard to receive what is yours by divine right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there work to be done? It's mostly mental. And because for many people that feels challenging, they think it's hard. And there are people that achieve by the sweat of their brow. But they don't realize it could be a lot easier. And they could have that and more.
Right. So we're going to cover, this will be our last section for today. Adult or child. To be an effective adult requires you to make decisions. If you are not going to make decisions and continue to falter through life, then you had better accept yourself as infantile. Face it and admit it to yourself. The height of your body or the date on your birth certificate have nothing to do with your mind and emotions. Paul wrote, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." 1 Corinthians 13:11. He had accepted himself as an adult. His decisions were many, and they were one of the primary sources for the spread of the ideas of Jesus. If you have trouble making up your mind because you are afraid of making a mistake, then you are still the immature child, right? And this This, can point to all of us in varying points of our lives and varying areas of our lives.
It doesn't say the unintelligent. It doesn't say the stupid.
Right.
It just says you haven't begun to activate in an intelligent way your ability. Okay, and so there's still growth that has to happen.
Children are afraid of making mistakes because of their strong emotional need to please their parents. I will go on, any elders, teachers, caregivers, all of those big people. The adult who is indecisive is a person who is still subconsciously afraid that what he or she, they may do will not please some past symbol in their minds, because that's the other thing that happens. That person or those people that just become a symbol in our minds, right? Sometimes it may, just be your parent, but really it's an amalgamation as an adult of a bunch of people and authority figures, right? Too often the past still rules the present. Usually it is so camouflaged in the subconscious mind that the individual is completely unaware of it. I often ask myself this: will my decisions today be based on today's experiences, guided by the wisdom of the past, or will they be determined only by past memory patterns? If the latter, I will make erroneous conclusions. You have to be a today person in a today experience to have the fullness of life in the here and now. The mature adult is usually able to do this. The immature adult continues in the valley of questions, doubts, and worries. Their day lacks luster, their hours have no fascination in them, and they weary in their supposed well-doing. His problems absorb his attention and their emotional importance expands, and he is unhappy in his home, job, social relationships. So he or she becomes an advice seeker, hoping that their fellow man can deconfuse their confusion, right? And this is what happens when we're past focus. This reminds me of the work in positive psychology, right? Looking at people that how we view the past informs how we show up in our world now. Do we have a past positive focus? And of course, if we have a past negative focus, that's constantly informing our decisions and how we show up in the world day to day. And it affects then every area of our life: home, job, social relationships, and so on. This person needs to make a decision of their own. It may be a wrong one, but all of us make wrong decisions. The mature mind accepts the result of his error and minimizes any self-guilt. They proceed on their course and make decisions, the majority of them being right ones. But when the adult who unconsciously goes back to his childhood for parental approval makes a wrong decision, he loads himself with guilt and remorse.
With more guilt and remorse.
Yeah. He accepts himself as a probable failure. He distrusts his own abilities, and he is a very unhappy person. This goes back to that labeling that I was talking about, this idea of having bad credit and then living in the shame, the guilt, right? And accepts themselves as a probable failure. Right?
Or a bankruptcy, or a failed relationship, or any of those things that we then...
divorce.
A divorce. Anything that we take on the label for after a series of poor choices, right?
Check your guilt load and begin rationalizing it away. No one ever makes a mistake on purpose.
Oh, please give yourself the compassion to know that.
Yeah. No one. I know it looks like it sometimes from the outside looking in, when we're judging ourselves and when we're judging others. But no one ever makes a mistake on purpose. Mistakes are not consciously planned. They may be subconsciously planned, but even these can be freed of their emotional importance. Ooh, powerful statement. Even these can be freed of their emotional importance, even if it was subconscious. The lower your guilt load, the greater your mental health. And that's mental health not in the clinical sense, right? But your ability to think healthy, beneficial, constructive thoughts.
Minus the fear, doubt, and the worry.
Right. You may ask if all guilt can be consciously known. No. But all your guilt does not need to be known. Years of psychological analysis might be necessary for you to become aware of only 90% of your guilts. Only the guilt that is preventing you from being a whole present person needs to be known.
That's important. we do spend time in analysis, and we feel like we've got to get to the very root, the deepest. And it's saying that what's present guilt for you now is what you need to work on. And eliminating that, and that's the block that needs to be removed. Not going back to the very beginning. You can do that, and it can be beneficial, but what we're talking about right now is how do you want to act and live now as an adult? Using the power of your mind in an adult, mature way.
Yes. Once you are alert to this fact, your intuition will gradually show you the areas where you need to do some rationalizing. No power anywhere sits in judgment on you. No power anywhere sits in judgment on you.
And not no power, the power sits in judgment. It doesn't.
Right. The universe is unconcerned with your mistakes. You are your only judge, and the faculties of your mind are your only jury. Realizing that you did not err with deliberate attempt or purpose will often clear the guilt.
If you can just accept and compassionately say, I know I didn't, I now realize that I wasn't conscious and that this mistake was not done intentionally.
Or on purpose.
Or on purpose.
Each guilt recognized, rationalized, and emotionally released of power will assist you to decide rightly. The following spiritual treatment will help to release your guilt. Again, another powerful treatment. There is one mind, one life, one spirit, and I individualize it. This mind, life, and spirit is always thinking of me in terms of itself. It never sits in judgment, and it has no condemnation. The goodness of life is the goodness of God. I now release all emotional power from any and all guilt in my subconscious mind. I am set free of all self-judgment and self-condemnation. I know myself as God knows me. I am free of all past errors. I am free to move forward in life. Now I make right decisions. God honors my thought and acts upon it. I prosper in all my affairs. I am free. This is the only thing we ever need to be free. Jesus does not need to be put on a cross. Jesus did not need to be murdered for us to come to this awareness. This is the truth of our being. This is the truth of what Jesus that walked the earth was trying to empower those who listen to him to accept and understand.
Today we are...
It never sits in judgment, and it has no condemnation.
And no condemnation. And today we are all resurrected in this truth.
Absolutely.
Today we are all free.
Absolutely.
I am free from my guilt. I'm free from my shame. I'm free from the mistakes that I made. I am free.
I'm free from self-judgment. I'm free from my mama's judgment. I'm free
from my parents' judgment.
Ex's judgment. I'm free from my boss's judgment. I'm free from my whoever, right? I am free. But know this. You've heard us say it many times. I think I just said it last week, right? God does not forgive because God does not condemn. I mean, there is no judge or jury when it comes to the all that is, the transcendent, the thing that you call God, whatever the highest reality that you consider, call it the universe, call what you want. It does not sit in judgment. It's impossible for it to sit in judgment, right? It has no condemnation. And then I love in this treatment, it says, this mind, life, and spirit, that's God, is always thinking of me in terms of itself. And it is perfect. It is complete. It is whole, right? It is lawful. It is orderly. And it can only think of us in that light and in those terms.
To do otherwise would not be loving and kind. To do otherwise would be to stand in judgment of itself.
Thank you. That's what I was just about to say. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so we're gonna end there. So we'll pick up here at The Universe Is All Right next week.
And we'll answer our question next week as well.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about anything that we've read this week or anything coming up to finish out this chapter next week, if we just remember that there is no condemnation in this loving presence.
None.
Our caregivers may have condemned or threatened
Right.
or abused us.
Right.
But that is not God.
No. It's not.
This loving presence does not condemn. It only cheers you on as you begin to realize who and what you are.
Yeah.
It only says yes as you begin to act upon inspired ideas. It only says yes as you say, let there be.
Right. It only responds. Right. It only responds. Well, in this moment, wow, this is just awesome. Last reminder, read chapter 2 again, sit with chapter 2 again. Also read Genesis 1, right? If you didn't do that, that's something else that you can do this week, and we'll pick up with chapter 2.
And if any of these spiritual mind treatments are really, they're also great. But again, begin to zero in. You can't get it wrong. Pick the one that feels the right for you and begin to use that every day. Every time a situation comes up, that mind treatment can support you in clearing up your thinking around. Find one. Use it everywhere, all day long, every day.
Yeah. Well, again, it is time for giving. You see the information here on your screen. You've seen it throughout the stream. It's very easy to give CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There's a $10 minimum for text to give. Most importantly, give what feels good. Why? Because God is good. And so when you have your mind on the good, you know that it is an unending resource. The good is not your job. The good is not whatever sources of direct deposits you may have. Right? God is the thing that supplied those resources, that supplies those deposits ultimately. And so when we know and we remember that, then we will never get into the robbing Peter to pay Paul. We will never get into the feeling bad, oh, I wish I could do more. We will never get into the I'm going to double up next week or I'm doubling up this week. None of that.
All right, I can't give, so God ain't going to bless me. None of that. And we give what feels good, and we receive the benefit of what feels good in continuing to feel good.
Yes. As we give, we receive. And so we affirm this powerful truth from that knowingness. All the money that I use returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. To that we say amen. Ashe. And so it is. Well, it is Easter Sunday, and so we trust that you all will enjoy the remainder of your Sunday in whichever way you're choosing to celebrate this day and honor this day. We also have the God Talk happening at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we look forward to connecting with many of you there and answering your questions and having a wonderful conversation. Wednesday is prayer at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to connect with us then, and if not, then we, of course, will see you back here next Sunday as we continue with Chapter 2 and continue diving deeper. It is just our true, sincere desire that each and every one of you can take this in with new minds and new understanding so that you can be empowered in your lives to do and be great because you are great.
Yes.
Because you are. So we love you, and we look forward to connecting with you again real soon. All right? Bye for now.
Bye for now.